Hello, welcome to How to Play Wahoo-Tock, a game for 2 or 4 players. This game is going to use a Wahoo board that you could still purchase from the traditional game and toy company out of Aledo, Texas. They have a website, wahoogames.com, and I bought this in Branson, Missouri. And in the website, they have more deluxe models that are all wood marble boards. And in addition to that, they have aggravation and talk boards. So do take out your jokers and kings from a deck of cards. You also need the 6-sided die provided with this game. And each one of these cards is going to have special powers. 4s, for instance, can move your own pawns 4 spaces backwards, and they are not affected by safe spaces. They can bypass them. 5s can move an opponent's pawn or a teammate's pawn 5 spaces forward, but are affected by safe spaces. So if a safe space does not allow you to move 5, you won't be able to use it. 7s can move a pawn 7 spaces forward, and you can divide those movements amongst several other pawns that you own. However, 7s must move all 7 spaces, and if there's any other pawns in the way, whether they're yours, your opponent's, or your teammates, those will be gobbled up, so be very careful. Aces can move a pawn up 1 or 11 spaces, and they can free a pawn from the start point. And 10s can move a pawn 10 spaces and force an opponent to burn a card. If you have no other option and 10s available and you have to burn a card, if you burn a 10, that effect will also carry over. Jacks can change one of your pawn's positions with one of your opponent's or one of your teammates' pawns when played. And of course, queens can free a pawn from the starting point, and also when used on the board will allow you to use the roll and move. So you play the queen and then roll the dice, and however many movements that dice shows is how many you get to move a pawn. This can be divided up into several different pawns if a movement is legal. And so we got the home spaces for each color. They have a TP consisting of 4 spots that you must occupy in order to win the game. The safe spots are the starting spots for each color. If that color is in that spot, they cannot be captured, nor can anybody move past them. Thus, what the purpose of the 5 cards is for is to move those pawns forward. So the step to play this game is we determine a start player. We deal out 4 cards to each player, and then we exchange 1 card with our teammate. The teammate will be sitting directly across from us, so red and yellow are teammates, and green and blue are teammates. South has won the deal, and so they will deal 4 cards to each player. We're dealing them face up for demonstration purposes, but in the real game you'd have them face down. So then South is going to be our start player. First we're going to exchange cards with our teammate, and then we are going to get to playing the game. So now after the exchanges happen, we will make our first moves. So queens can move a pawn from out of the starting point into the safe space for legal plays from there on out. So yellow has done so. Now east will play an ace, or west will play an ace, blue will play an ace, and put a pawn out to the start point. Now we're going to see a 4 played to move a yellow pawn 4 spaces backwards. And you could also use a 4 to capture if you can go from your safe space 4 spaces backwards onto an opponent's pawn, which we see red just did with blue. And now we're going to see yellow enter home. They have 6 movements on the 6th card to get to the very last spot of home. You can occupy any of the home spaces, but you must have the exact movements needed for each one of those spaces. You cannot have more movements and then ignore the rest of the movements. You have to do all the movements of that card. Each card is worth their space value, with the exception, of course, of the power cards. Now we're going to watch a 5 being played to move an opponent's piece 5 spaces forward. We see yellow plays the 5 and moves green's pawn 5 spaces forward. Now we're going to see a 10 played to move 10 spaces forward, and this is going to force South to burn a card. They choose a 6 that they will not use. Now jacks can be played, and we're going to see blue move the yellow pawn in exchange with his blue pawn so that he's in a more advantageous position. Now we're going to see a queen being played to have the roll and move rule. So north red plays a queen and now rolls the dice to get his movement. He rolls a 3, and he could move either one of his pawns 3 spaces, or he could move these pawns 3 spaces divided amongst them. So he could move one pawn 1 space and the other pawn 2, and vice versa. 7s, we're going to see a 7 being played to capture And so we see green plays the 7, captures the red. That was only 5 movements, so they'll use the other 2 movements between your other pawns in home. Once you have moved all your pawns into your home safe space, or into your TP, on your next move you're going to be able to control your teammate's pawn, which we see North Red doing here. He is now moving Yellow's pawn 10 spaces forward. This will force East to burn a card, and now the game ends whenever a team successfully gets all their pawns into their TP, which we see Red was able to put Yellow's pawn into the TP. They win. So play this card game in public. Come to our subreddit, Card Game Meetups. Post your city. Post what games you know, what games you want to learn, what games you want to teach. Do check out our description where we have all our video links, including a link to a Discord where we talk about card games all day, every day. And I want to thank today's musician, Accordion Man, for his excellent accordion music that he has provided to us. Do check out his channel. He has a lot of great content on there and a lot of great music on there. And do like and subscribe, and do share these videos with other people you know who love playing card games. See you next video.